One, I didn't have a lot of issues that I didn't like.
So that was my thing. It's like it's not.
I think I would. He's good. He's always too.
What's the expensive?
The map guy.
So you'll be up there.
Yeah, no, we got this ain't pretty one of them. So we juggling for a while was trying to find space for work. We're going to expand what, like 60. So we're trying to find places to put it. So like we pulled out the old plans. There was 2 cubicles. And we ripped the.
Forget Rowan. He was. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Contact her down there and just say, hey,
Do anyways. I guess the meeting and they just can't see the light.
Yeah.
That issue is all. Yeah, we had somebody.
Okay, yeah, if I can do anything, let me know.
I think they were playing this. I always find it weird. I'm used to it once a week.
Today.
Oh, that I haven't followed up.
We have the exact same agenda, but we even added 3 projects to the 35. So
We have achieved that.
that's it. Nobody talked.
All right, good morning. Good, take our seats, please. All right, Kai, would you start with the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Tim Andrus.
Here.
Ryan Bale. John Byram.
Here.
Kurt Campbell.
Here.
Andra Vision. Debbie Farmer.
Andra and Debbie raised their hands. Here, please.
Thank you. Charlie Flatten. Steve Metzler. Carol Graham. Thank you. Blake Hildebrand. Tom Youngman. Aaron Teague. Present. Jason Ammerman. Scooter Mangold. Andrew McBride.
Here.
Daniel Meyer. Gary Middleton. Travis Pruski.
Here.
Robert Puente.
Here.
Vanessa Puig Williams. Humberto Ramos.
Here.
Weldon Riggs.
Here.
Roland Ruiz.
Here.
Ed Griffin for Daryl Brownlow.
Here.
Darren Simmons. Mitchell Sowards.
Here online.
Ryan Perkins for Jonathan Stinson.
Here.
Paul Kite. Ryan Kelso. Diane Wasenick.
I'm here, online.
Thank you. Adam Yablonsky.
I'm
Dan.
here.
Thank you. Dan Yoxel. Charlie Rotzler. Tony Franklin. Tom Hegemeyer.
Here.
Liliana Delgado. Don McGee. Michelle Foss. Charles Wiedenfeld, Jamie McCool, or Kroll. We have four.
Thank you, Kai. I'll move to item number 2, public comment. We'll note as the first part of public comment that I have confirmed that our planning group has met all the public notice requirements for the agenda item number 8 coming up, which is the final plan adoption, including the 14-day public comment period, and we did not receive any public comments during that period. But if there's any public comment today for this meeting, I'm open for anybody at this time. I don't see any public comment, no one online, so we'll move on to item number 3, approval of minutes from the previous meeting. And if I would entertain a motion on the minutes, or if anybody has any comments on them at this time, let me
I
know.
move to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Move forward to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Item number 4, discussion appropriate action regarding vacancies result from future term expirations or resignations. We, administrator is asking us to kind of take a look at this, just kind of see how we want to handle this. We talked about it last meeting on the timing of this. We have confirmed that there were 11 members whose terms expiring next year. We've confirmed with all but 2 of them, and 7 are going to continue, and 2, we do have 2 people retiring. I believe, if I'm correct, that's Mr. Riggs and Mr. Mangold.
Mr. Yablonsky.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Yablonsky, sorry. Sorry, Scooter, I didn't mean to try to kick you off.
That's okay.
So, Mr. Yablonsky, I believe they're both from the agricultural use group. So we will be seeking any interested parties to come to those vacancies. I think we do have one already for Mr. Riggs' seat. So we'll seek any other nominations for those seats coming up. But the question is I think you told me you're going to retire. This might be your last meeting, exactly. So.
Well, the young lady back here got to talking to me, confirmed some things. So
Okay.
I thought that we wanted to, if somebody was going to leave, their term was expiring, I thought that we wanted to try to get them off before the next cycle started.
That's a discussion we have for ourselves, because from what I understand, and I'm still a little bit vague on it because all I've heard is late 2006, but the new cycle doesn't officially start until late 2006. But what happens in the first part of the year is we get the consultant, and there's some planning stuff at the beginning. We'll probably have some presentations, I think, on a couple items in preparation. We're probably going to go through the bylaws. We got some new meeting topics coming up to talk about, but there are things that happen in preparation of the new cycle in those early meetings of the year. And so I think from my standpoint, I still kind of of the impression that it would be good to get a new person in earlier rather than later, so that they could be part of those discussions and get that background as we move into the next cycle. But that's just my opinion. Technically, I don't think the term ends until the end of next year.
That's okay.
So, did I say that all correct, Kai?
I think I had to clarify that your term doesn't end when 2026 starts. It ends when it's over. So
in that case, if you were ready to retire, you would just need to tell Kai, send her an email or a letter saying, hey, I'm ready to retire, and then we would get somebody in at that point, and that could be at any time.
Just a point of clarification. If someone retires and someone takes their place, they're filling an unexpired term, and then we'll just have to do it again a few months later.
I don't know, can you clarify on that? If we fill the seat and then are they filling the rest of that term, and then we gotta vote them in again, and after that term's over, or can?
are you talking about because of the new cycle, or?
No, I'm just saying if someone leaves their term, it's an unexpired term.
I think the practice that we've done is once that person no longer reapplies for that solicitation when there's a vacancy, right? So as soon as y'all allow us as the river authority to put out a solicitation for that position, then at that point, that interest area is vacant. So then you, if you're the same person, you want to apply again, you'd have to reapply again. We can't just vote you in as a board. So I think that as soon as y'all vote a new person to be on, the term starts in that year, that meeting, and that's when they start. But it's not for the remaining of that term.
Mr. Anderson?
In times previous, what we've done when we've had this sort of situation is we've had a member identify that individual that intended to fill the vacancy for the next term, serve as an alternate for the short period, and then they were adopted, or approved rather, as a permanent voting member of the planning group. You could designate this other individual as your alternate under our bylaws. They could serve and then.
They can attend all next year's meetings and then we'll just vote them.
And thereby avoiding
Assuming
any
we like them.
controversy about expiring terms and all.
Stay on.
So.
We kept him.
Yes, go ahead.
I want a point of clarification, going back to what Kai said. Kai, so when we do the solicitation for vacancies, basically seven said they want to still continue serving. They would submit based on their governance board that they can serve. And if anybody else solicits for that position, then there's a process we have to go through the executive committee, correct?
Right.
So just want to make sure we understand that there's a process that we have to go through at some point, because we want to be transparent, let others know that these opportunities, not that anybody will come up, because we've done this a lot of times.
Yeah, it's just usually the case that the person that currently holds that seat essentially reapplies and no one else does. So if there's multiple people that applies for that same seat, then yes, the executive committee needs to discuss those, and that's why they come up to a recommendation to y'all during the full meeting.
So we could kind of do what Tim's saying, and if there is somebody waiting and would like to serve as an alternate for next year, they start coming to the meetings. And at the end of next year, or, actually going into 27, if we have any positions with more than one person applying or whatever, then the executive committee can meet at that time at the end of the year, make recommendations and then bring that back to the board for going forward. Like in
Yes,
February.
I just need to know when y'all would like for me to solicit for all those 11 vacancies. At what time next year? It doesn't have to be next year, right after this meeting, it's up.
And that's what Kai's asking, is it's that we can do it at the next meeting or we can do it at the end of the year. It has to be next year sometime. We have to solicit and then appoint.
Next meeting.
It's not like a particular date.
And I just want to point out there's a process too, right? So we get more, that means it's gonna be delayed. So we all understand that. So we need to figure out, this is the time we need to pull the trigger, and then understanding that if it goes down this road, here's where it's at. But everyone who's still sitting on Region L can still sit on Region L until there's a change of someone that happens. We need to be aware that there's a process.
All right, now the only other seat is Mr. Jablonski's. Do we know if he's, I think he's online, right? So if you, are you planning to serve through next year, or would you like to retire early?
I'm in no massive hurry. I do agree that it would be helpful to get somebody in the seat, as early in the process as practical, but I'm happy to serve for, another few meetings if that makes it easier. I don't know if that's a good answer to your question, but I guess my answer is I'm flexible. And as soon as we can find somebody else that's a good fit, I'm happy to step aside and allow that person either as an alternate or whatever process might make this go as smoothly as possible.
All right. I know sometimes it can take us a little while to fill a seat. So in my mind, I'd like to offer that maybe we could solicit for Mr. Jablonski's seat, because we know that one's going to be open. And then maybe on the other ones where people are hoping to continue, that we do that solicitation for those seats maybe middle of the year next year. But those, we're going to just assume those go all the way to the end of next year with those people, and then we'll do a solicitation for those about mid-year next year.
So solicit for agriculture.
Correct.
That includes Mr. Riggs.
I guess the person, if a person, because there's two agriculture positions at the moment.
So just one agriculture or both?
I guess technically you'd probably want to solicit for both, but obviously we have somebody who may come in and is gonna sit in next year and probably has a leg up on anybody else who puts in there if they come into that process. But I mean, it's open, I guess, if anybody wants to put their application in. We need, yes, sir.
The big water users are municipal and irrigation. I think that's right. And if Adam's gone, we really ought to bring somebody in who's familiar with irrigation, I would think.
I mean, anyone in this group has a contact and would like to reach out to somebody to put an application in for those seats, we should try to do
But you
that.
know what I'm saying?
Right, yes, sir.
Be good to have somebody that's real familiar with that field.
Right, and hopefully if we do have a couple people, we've got some choices as executive committee, when we come make a recommendation, we'll probably look for somebody that brings that type of expertise to the group.
Well, you ought to be strong on that. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, I appreciate the comment. Yes, sir.
My suggestion is just at our next meeting, we vote to open up solicitation for all the positions. And then over the course of next summer, we have those and we vote them in sometime in the summer or the early fall. And we just do it all in one fell swoop. We should open them all up at the next meeting, our first official of the next cycle.
Is there consensus either way? You kind of want to I'm either way.
I would just follow whatever the bylaws say as far as, and I don't even know what they say, but for transparency, for public trust and all that, I would be hesitant to stray from whatever we've done historically according to bylaw as far as solicitation, even though we know someone's going to be leaving or express their intent to leave. I'm a little uncomfortable in manipulating the process just to get someone in, so to speak.
You have to have the bylaws here. I don't think the bylaws actually give us a direction on when or not to solicit for a seat. And if we know that somebody is retiring anytime during the process, then we can solicit for that seat at any moment. I don't think there's anything in the bylaws that would restrict us from, in this case, we know that two gentlemen from agriculture are not going to continue. They would like to retire. And they've been a big part of this process for a while now, but we know we're going to have that thing. So I'm either way. We can run all the solicitations in February.
I'm reading the bylaws, it just says a term of 5 years, doesn't have a date of when. So if we open it up at the next meeting, we can get those people on as soon as possible and start the next planning process. And I think we should do them all 11 vacancies at the same time, even if people are renewing or whatever. You still have to post for all of them.
Right, I agree.
That's the point of clarification that I'm trying to ask, and where the transparency comes in is just y'all vote to allow me to solicit for those vacancies. But as far as how we do them, we have flexibilities on the bylaws strict to how. So if y'all wanted to split it up, I don't think that's not transparent. It's more so I would just have to put y'all voted to only solicit.
We have a 45-day window of when we have to announce that we're going to put the new people, our new solicitations, so.
Right. So that's why it might make it simpler, just do it all at one time and just have Kai put those out sometime between January and our first meeting, make the solicitation.
That would be where that 45-day window comes out. As soon as I put that solicitation out, they have up to 30 to 45 days. I usually do 30 days for people to put in nomination forms. And then we'll review those if needed by the executive committee. If not, if it's all the same folks, then it's up to you to choose not to, and then come back on the February meeting to vote to include those folks onto Regional or not. That would be the timeline.
Okay. And I think we do need to take a vote on this to give a direction to, so, would you like to
Make a motion that we open up the nominations for the 11 positions that are coming up.
All right, so any further discussion on the motion? So I'll take a vote. Was it someone online wanted to make a comment? So I'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, so Kai, you have your direction. All right, so 5, status report for the Texas Water Development Board. Well. No, not really.
Is that better? Right. It works. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our last meeting of the 6th planning cycle. A few quick reminders. The date that we've all been waiting for, or at least Water Development Board's waiting for. Today's your big day. The final plans will be submitted to the board no later than October 20th. Regions must include the final versions of the DB 27 data reports at the final plan. If they are going to be hard copy included in the plan, otherwise everything is set to go. The final deliverable includes all the electronic files and 4 hard copies. And we will be providing the technical consultants with an electronic link for submittals likely tomorrow or Monday, like we did for the IPPs. Next slide. For the 7th cycle, for the 2031 regional water plans, we are currently hammering out the final schedule for release to everybody. What we do know at this point is we anticipate in March of next year that we are going to release the RFAs for the 7th cycle planning contracts to the political subdivisions. Those will be due back to the board in April. It's typically a 30-day. And then we anticipate that we will take those recommendations for contracts to the board for consideration during an early June board meeting. Summer, early fall, we'll execute contracts between the board and regional water planning group sponsors. During 2026, the regional water planning group sponsors will be conducting the selection process for technical consultants. That could be an open solicitation, or that could, depending on your bylaws, could be a nomination to recontract with your existing technical consultants. And we anticipate that you'll be holding pre-planning meetings during the fall, winter of 2026. Next slide. A couple of quick updates for you with regards to Proposition 4 and the Texas Water Fund. The action along with Senate Bill 7 from this legislative cycle would, if approved by voters next month, would fund $20 billion for water projects, $1 billion each for the next 20 years, based on state sales tax and use tax. Next slide. Then with the existing Texas Water Fund, it's basically going to dovetail in if Proposition 4 passes. So what it does to the existing Texas Water Fund is it expands the types of funds and accounts to which that money can be transferred. It expands the priorities for funding and now would include wastewater infrastructure, including rehabilitation, which is a big ticket item for a lot of folks in this region. And it also includes technical assistance for applicants for funding. It also expands eligibility for the new Water Supply for Texas Fund to include water and wastewater reuse projects, which is also a big item for this region. And it also would allow eligibility for acquisition of water rights originating outside the state of Texas. Next slide. We've got an FAQ sheet on our website. There's a picture of where you can find it right up front on the homepage under our hot topics. A lot of information there. It's about a 7.5-page document. So if you have any questions, you can look there or feel free to ask me. And then an item that I don't have a slide for, the Water Development Board is having a financial assistance workshop in Hondo at the Medina County Courthouse Annex on Thursday, November the 20th. From 9:30 to 11:30, and they will likely stay after that time as well. And I will provide Kai with that information so she can post that on the Region L website. And then lastly, okay, if you have any questions, let me know. And it might be premature to jump the gun. Congratulations for making it through another planning cycle. On behalf of the board and myself, thank you all for your hard work this planning cycle. A lot of difficult topics, a lot of difficult and long-bearing discussions have been held and will continue to be held by this group, and we definitely appreciate the hard work that you are putting in on behalf of the region. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, so item number 6, status support and communications related to regional water planning, including reports to the chair, regional liaisons, groundwater management area representatives, members of the planning group. The chair does not have a specific update. Any of our regional liaisons have any updates from the adjacent regions? Talking to Kai earlier, I don't know if she has a list of who actually is our current region liaison. So if you are a region liaison, you might reach out to Kai and tell her that you're doing that and which regions we're going to. Because we may need.
Carl Kroll is the liaison for Region N, and he is not here.
Those are the liaisons from other groups that come to ours.
Okay.
But on our group, like I know Diane Wasnick, she goes to the Region K meetings.
Andress is Region P. So we have J, K, N. Yeah, and then.
I'm for N. I'm the liaison for N. But we're on time. We're on schedule.
Yeah, they adopted 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Good.
Who are we missing? J and K?
So K is Diane. J, I don't know who J would be.
Who's our J representative? We may not have one.
I don't know about M.
M?
Farmer could.
Yeah, we need to, okay, so we need to get a list. We need to-
That's a February meeting.
We'll talk about this in February on a future topic, but we're gonna, we need to reassess who that is and ask those people if we want to continue and see if we need any new people to do that liaison. So be aware of that, that's coming up. That'll be we'll have that on a future meeting topic. Any groundwater management representatives have any updates? Okay, none. Or any other members have an update specific they would like to talk about this time?
I do know that, I wanna say GMA 13 and GMA 15 are both meeting within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I would imagine modeling in mags and DFCs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm GMA 9 and we just met a couple weeks ago, but there's no new discussion. It's all the same topic. We're moving forward with the existing model, which I think is what the update I gave last time, so. Item number 7, consideration appropriate action regarding presentation to technical consultant regarding schedule, progress, and budget updates.
This might take me a moment. Okay. Okay. The first agenda item is consideration and appropriate action regarding the presentation by us about the schedule, progress, and budget update. Oh, there we go. Okay. First off is the schedule progress. And this is the typical schedule that we see, and here we are in the fourth quarter, and we did it. We made it through the 5th cycle of regional water planning. We're at the goal line. Zooming into our 2025 year schedule, since we met on August 28th, the key deadline was that the Texas Water Development Board's database, DB27, has been closed. It closed on September 22nd, as Michelle mentioned. And today at this meeting, we'll be reviewing any updates on chapters or any updates on responses to comments and adopting the final Region L regional water plan. So moving on to updates on completed or ongoing efforts. So we completed addressing comments on the 2026 Region L initially prepared plan, and we revised the draft plan chapters to address those comments and to make revisions as directed by you all at that August 28th meeting. We uploaded revised documents to Region L, to the Regional website for your review. And then we have provided the planning group's comments that you all provided and approved at the August meeting, provided those to the Texas Water Development Board, and also provided revised chapters to the Texas Water Development Board for their review. And they determined and confirmed that our responses and our revisions to the chapter sufficiently address the TWDB's level 1 comments. We have completed Chapter 10 updates. So that included updating the chapter itself about the comment period information and the dates of adoption of the plan. And then also added 3 new appendices, and Appendix 10A is the Texas Water Development Board's comment letter in full. And then 10B is the planning group's responses to those comments. And then 10C is a summary of the comments we received from the public and other agencies and the planning group's responses to each. And as I mentioned, we completed coordination with the Texas Water Development Board on DB27 data entry. And the only ongoing item that we have now is just putting finishing touches and polishing the final plan deliverables package to the board. We're required to submit electronic and hard copies of the plan. And the electronic copies include all files in which the plan is based, like spreadsheets, models, and so forth. And we will submit those deliverables later this month. And so this is just a quick snapshot of the schedule of where we've been over the last 9 or so months, starting with when we submitted the IPP to the board and our comment period closure, when you all approved those comments, approved the responses to comments at the August 28th meeting. And now we're here at this October 2nd meeting where you'll adopt the final plan. And the only next step is actually submitting that plan by October 20th. And then at the August staff work group meeting, we were requested to include an agenda item or a brief update on budget progress. And so this is the budget update as of, it goes through July, labor through July 2025. And this is reflecting the total budget by task in which this is the information that we provided on our invoice to the San Antonio River Authority in September. And so the total not to exceed budget for this project was $1.2 million. And you can see what we built to date. And then there's the balance remaining and the percent spent to date. So we have spent about 97% of the total budget, and we expect to expend the remaining of that by the time this plan is completed. Are there any questions about that? Agenda item 7? Move on. Okay. So agenda item 8 is consideration and appropriate action regarding the final regional water plan for Region L. And it's broken down by a brief description of any updates that occurred to the plan between August and now, and consideration and appropriate action for adopting the final plan and then authorizing us to submit that final plan on your behalf. So the updates that have occurred since August to now are that we completed those DB27 updates and we made those necessary revisions or adjustments to the plan for consistency. We updated the executive summary so that it's consistent amongst all the chapters to reflect all of those updates. We have formatted, and in terms of polishing between now and when we finalize the document, there will be a bit more formatting just to make sure that it looks good. And also performing accessibility checks to make sure that it meets those requirements that the board has. And then we've already compiled and updated tables of contents and appendices and figures and so forth. We updated the plans to address the IPP comments and the direction that you all provided to us. And again, all of the plan chapters are on the website. And then the only change that's substantive change that's happened since last meeting in August was that we revised some of the existing supplies for El Oso WSC. They're a shared water user group between Region L and Region N. And we were requested by Region N to shift some of our surplus supplies in Region L to cover needs within Region N. This revision didn't affect any changes, or it didn't cause any changes to any of the chapters. Like, we changed existing supplies for one entity. And so by changing existing supplies, I mean, we're just shifting within the same water user group across county boundaries, across river basin boundaries, just to make sure that everybody has their needs met. So that didn't affect chapter 3, which is water supplies. It didn't cause any changes to needs, which would be chapter 4. So no changes to that. Didn't cause any unmet needs. So no changes to chapter 6. So that is the only substantive revision that's occurred since our meeting in August. Are there any questions about updates to the plan and what we plan to do between now and submittal? Okay, great. Then move on to consideration and appropriate action to adopt the final 2026 regional water plan and authorize the technical consultant to address any non-substantive revisions, planning group changes, and/or Texas Water Development Board requests prior to final plan submission.
All right, so I guess this is the big vote of the year. I will entertain a motion if there is no discussion.
I make,
Second. Have a motion and a second. Ken and Steve. Any discussion on the motion?
I just wanted to make a comment. I guess I was the one who asked about the budget, and I appreciate you providing the information on the budget. You know, being a general manager of a utility, one of the things we always do with our engineers is on time, on budget, and this is basically on time, on budget with the work you've done, so I appreciate that. This is 5 years in the making, so I really appreciate that, what you've done. Certainly appreciate everybody's work.
Yeah, I would echo the sentiment. I enjoyed working with the consultant. They've done a good job. They've been very professional. There's some fun times and some tough times. So that's good. And then everyone's work throughout the whole cycle. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, no opposed. So we have passed the plan. Very good work.
The next agenda item or sub-agenda item is consideration and appropriate action to authorize the technical consultant to submit the final plan deliverables to the Texas Water Development Board on behalf of the South Central Texas Region L Regional Water Planning Group by October 20th, 2025.
so moved.
Second. There we go. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Please make the submittal on our behalf.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to express our sincerest gratitude to everyone in this room and all of our partners. 4 years ago, I stood before you when we were competing for this project, and I shared a guiding principle of mine from my great grandfather, who was a newspaper publisher. And he said that newspapers should be a mirror reflecting the lives of those being served. And I adopted that same philosophy for regional water planning. Our goal from the beginning was to develop a plan that would reflect the lives of those served in Region L, and that was realistic, implementable, and rooted in the values and the information and needs and data of the community. And so from us to you all, thank you very much to the South Central Texas Regional Water Planning Group. It cannot be understated that you all are serving in a volunteer capacity. And it is because of your service and deep engagement and genuine care that has made this plan stronger. And you have helped ensure that this plan truly does reflect the lives of those being served in Region L. And to the San Antonio River Authority, Kai, Stephen Metzler, Avianca, the whole team, you guys were so amazing. Thank you so much for your outstanding leadership and facilitation. You made sure that everyone's voices were being heard. And to the Texas Water Development Board, Michelle Foss, Sarah Lee, and the whole technical team, thank you very much, because your support helped shape this into being a successful regional water plan. So thank you very much from all of us.
Thank you.
Oh, and this is a slide to acknowledge all of the different planning group members that were engaged with this sixth cycle of regional water planning, those who currently serve and those who served previously. This is also included in the regional water plan because your service, again, volunteer, can't be underestimated or understated. So thank you.
All right, so moving to item number 9, consideration and appropriate action to authorize San Antonio River Authority to serve as regional subdivision sponsor for the 7th cycle. So all of a sudden now we're looking at the next cycle. So we're wasting no time. So what we're looking here is to kind of acknowledge San Antonio River Authority's sponsorship for us going forward into this next cycle. San Antonio River Authority has already given us their consent, their willingness to continue to serve as our sponsor. And if we would like them to continue as such, I would entertain a motion.
Authorize San Antonio River Authority to serve as regional sponsor.
I would just like to add I hold Kai position for Region N, and she does a fantastic job in the River Authority, so I think they did a great job, and I'd like to have them part 7.
Very good. So thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All right, so all in favor of San Antonio River Authority continuing to be the sponsor of the regional planning group, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so that means, I think, we'll continue our relationship with San Antonio River Authority. And then, because we now voted for that, the next 2 items, consideration of appropriate action to authorize a sponsor to submit the grant application to the Texas Water Development Board and execute a contract with Texas Water Development Board on behalf of the regional planning group for initial funding for the 7th cycle. We technically could wait till February to do this vote, but since we've just voted to keep sponsor, this kind of gets that ball rolling. They can start planning that. They don't have to wait for us to make this decision next year. So if anybody has any discussion, or I would entertain a motion to that effect. Motion. Second with Tim. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so now we'll move on to item number 11, discussion of appropriate action. Political subdivision sponsor to issue a request for qualifications to procure professional services for the 11th cycle of the Regional Water Planning Group. Again, this is something we probably could do first part of next year, but it's good to get it out of the way and get that ball rolling. Yes, sir.
I've got a question. Is that a requirement from the Texas Water Development Board that we put out an RFQ each year? I mean, we don't do that in Region N, and I'm just wondering if that was a requirement up here.
I believe it is a requirement that we put an RFQ out, isn't it?
I don't believe it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. And to that end, I'd like to move that we just go ahead and authorize the Sarah to work with Black and Beach on a contract for the next cycle.
I'll just add that real quick. I'll cite that historically, it's been a practice of Region L to seek or want to be a part of that competitive procurement cycle. So that's why we've done it historically. Also, the contract that we have currently does have a termination date, and there's no renewals in that contract. Although there is flexibility, I think, within our professional services contract with which this is. So we could talk about it internally, but that would be something I need to go back to our GM with before. But like Michelle said, I think it is something that we could do. It's just we would have to work internally to have that conversation involved.
Hi, this is Brian Perkins. My understanding and direction from what I'm board previously was that it has to be consistent with the practices of the sponsoring agency. So in this case, San Antonio River Authority, whatever your practices were regarding requiring or procuring technical consultants to be consistent with that. So.
Okay. Well, at this moment, I have a motion without a second. So if we want to continue with that, we need a second. Otherwise,
I'll second it.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so now I have a motion and a second to continue with basically authorize Sarah to negotiate a contract to continue with Black and Beach. That's if I stated your motion correctly.
I thought she said that she had to go back to her employer and PM their particular way that they do it before we can just move on with them. Is that correct?
That's correct. So if y'all are going to vote for us to continue negotiations or contract with Black and Beach, then we would need to go back because our contract doesn't have renewals in it at this time, and there is a termination date, which is October 20th of this year. So, but again, there is flexibility. I did get this reviewed in my conversations with Mr. So, but I mean, I can't speak for the general manager here right now because we haven't floated this to him. So
We may be able to do a contract amendment
So what I would vote no, based on what she said and our historical way we've been doing things. But I'll ask you to let some committee or the governing committee, executive committee look into that. And we might go back to what the motion was, but we have to get Sarah, San Antonio River Authority's acquiescence to.
I'll stress that we do have the flexibility to do a renewal, an extension. That's what they would like us to do, and I'm happy to go back and let them know that. And again, I'll stress that this agenda item doesn't need to be voted on today. So we can postpone this agenda item for next meeting, where I can have conversations going back to the general manager and that team, the contract team, to discuss that. And by then I can give y'all an answer of, yes, we're willing to extend that.
Oh, I do agree with him. It's just the process, as Roland was saying earlier, stick to a process.
I think in this one, we defer to the governing political subdivision procurement process. And I wouldn't want to impose on them something that they cannot or would rather not do, but I would defer to them. If it was our agency in the same boat, I would want the same kind of
Defer it till, defer decision on this until we get some more information.
I'd like to add to this. I think what's also important is, historically in the past, we've done this. A lot of us are leaving, a lot of us have left. And so I think we need to capture and codify what that history is. So if it's required based on some statement, our bylaws need to state that we'll go through this process every 5 years. It's known, this is a small niche. We know this is a small niche, it's planning effort, it's a small niche in the engineering community. But we need to codify what we're doing here, that we're following whatever process that Sarah has, and it's codified some way, so we all understand. So new people come in, and it's not a beef against the current engineer consultant that did it. No, it's a process we have to go through, and it has to be codified somehow. Because again, we're all changing, and it's kind of hard to go back on history when all of us have left.
In our bylaws, it just says that we have the ability to select the entities, and say that we have to go through the procurement process or anything. So our bylaws does say that. I will say that in Region N, they have done that historically. They have reselected it, and their caveat is that with the contract that they had, could have substantial change in the staff that was performing the procurement, because they thought the staff did a great job. So that was their one caveat with when they do that, is that they can't substantially change staff, like they can't change out Lauren with really random new people, and the staff is doing the work because we thought the work was done well by the staff.
Okay, so we're still sitting on a motion. So we need to resolve that somehow. Either we're gonna go ahead and take a vote, or, there can be a withdrawal of the motion, and then we can do a table of this item.
I think it was a second, was it?
It was seconded, yes, sir.
Was it 1 second?
So then we can go ahead and vote on the motion that's on the floor. And then react to that, or it's up to you. We'll proceed forward. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna take a vote on the motion. The motion is to direct San Antonio River Authority to renegotiate or negotiate a extending contract, whatever mechanism that is, with Black and Veatch to continue forward for the 7th cycle. So at this time, all those in favor, please state by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
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 I think I heard more nays. I think it was clear that there were more nays on that. So if there's an objection to that, I'm gonna rule there were more nays. Otherwise, we would have to move to a written vote or a hand vote or something. So
Any opposition kills the motion, is that correct? Under the consensus of the board, any opposition?
So then that motion fails. So at this point, I need another motion or some action to go forward.
I move that we postpone this until the next meeting that we have.
Go ahead. So now I have a motion, a second to postpone this item till the February meeting. Any discussion on that?
So are you looking for, Mr. Puente, looking for direction from the executive committee to meet with Sarah to do everything you said?
That would be great, but in the meantime, Sarah can, she can meet with her GM, everybody at Sarah to do the things that she needs to do to come back. So ideally, it would be that the executive maybe gives the whole region else some direction as to what is going to happen.
When does the current agreement expire?
October 20th. That's the submission date for the plan.
So potentially, between October 20 and
So between now and then, we need to have those.
ideally, I presume, if you were to go out with an RFP, you'd want to do so early so that we can start evaluating proposals so that it.
So we couldn't go out for a request for qualifications until later next year because we don't have a scope of work for the next plan from the board. So that's what I'm saying. This doesn't need to be done right now. We wouldn't be able to even put out an RFQ if y'all moved forward with us doing so until later next year. So this wouldn't be the end of that conversation. We would still have a lot of more conversations when it comes to that request until later next year, according to the tentative schedule by the board that she shared earlier, like 2026.
I would mention that what was a precedent for previous RFQs for planning cycles? It's not driven by TWDB. Was it something that was driven by the sponsoring agency?
So there's some notes in there on what we're gonna do for Mr. Fuentes' motion here. And then, so I'm gonna take a vote on the motion to table this till February meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, so that's tabled. We will bring that back up as an agenda item for our February meeting, and hopefully the questions that have been raised here, Kai, will be, we can do a presentation and answer those for everybody. Okay, so item number 12, discussion appropriate action regarding establishment of any additional subcommittees. I don't have any recommendation for any subcommittees. And does anybody else at this point have any desire to have a subcommittee for something? Some topic. So not hearing any, we'll move to item number 13. Schedule the 2026 regional planning meetings to discuss potential agenda items for our next meeting. Proposed meeting dates for next year are up on the board there, the February 5th, May 7th, August 6th, and November 5th. And then we have a couple of potential items that we've discussed. We would typically do our officer elections in that first meeting. I think last time we pushed those a little bit, but we'll try to do those in the first meeting of next year. And then we've had discussion on the bylaws and guiding principles. They came up today, so that I think it might be prudent to have a discussion, a review of the bylaws and our guiding principles as an agenda item on our February meeting. And we can review through those, and if we need to, if we want to make changes, or we want to talk about clarifications or how we want to handle things, be a good time to do that. And then we already talked about that we would like to look at and reestablish the regional liaisons in that February meeting of next year. Any other agenda items anybody else has they would like to see?
The 11 vacancies that we sent them to put the nominations out.
Correct. So yeah, we voted earlier to do that. So that would be on our agenda. So look at any nominations that come during that process. Any other agenda items anybody has that they would like to see on that February meeting? Since none, we'll move to item number 14, public. This is our second public comment period today. Is there any public comment at this time as we wrap up?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir, Ted.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Well, thanks for recognizing me so that I can make a comment.
Mr. Boyd, just before you start, I want to let you know that I'm going to start the time as soon as you start your public comment.
Okay, thank you. I am again, Ray. I have raised concern previously in the regional meetings about all of the groundwater projects and continued pumping and expanded pumping that is intended for the Gonzales County area. And the plan is just marching along without really addressing the comments that have been raised by myself. Yeah, I know there was I think a one pager or something that was put in that showed that, yes, we received comments, but when it came down to actually doing something in the plan to address the very specific concerns, a lot of detail that has been submitted, that didn't happen. And I see that the plan is moving along. But there's very real concerns that have been raised with groundwater models that were done by others that were submitted as part of the public comment, and just a lot of work, put into providing comments. And the regional plan is just marching along, and it's totally failed to address the concerns raised by Gonzales County residents. And so I would say that the system has failed for Gonzales County. The process has failed. And so I hope that the regional plan is not relied upon by any sponsor to go yet again drill more wells and pull more water out of Gonzales County. The well mitigation problems continue over in Gonzales, and it's unsustainable. And so something really needs to be done with a sustainable evaluation and looking at the impact of what this is going to do to these family farms and ranches with all this just intensive pumping. I mean, there's got to be some better ways. Raise concerns. There's things that could be done in the power generation sector with not using so much water for old power plants that are very inefficient with water consumption. There's things that can be done there. There's things that can be done with recharge. Doing something with produced water. Anyway, a lot of ideas, but there's got to be more done with conservation instead of just more pumping, more pumping. Right. I hope that my comments today are incorporated. I am going to go ahead and just send another email in as a reminder. I'll send that to Kai, and then, but I want the objection to this plan to be solidly documented to show that at least we tried from Gonzales County. At least we tried, but it had no impact.
Thank you, Mr. Boriak. I think that's 3 minutes, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate your participation in the plan. And obviously you've made it during the public comment period, so that's going to be included in our record. Do we have any other public comment at this time? All right. Since no other public comment, that moves us to item number 15, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.